Hello, and welcome to the Kconversation podcast. I'm Hannah,
And I'm Taj.
and we are just here to talk about K-pop and things, because that's what we do in our free time anyway.
Yes.
So today we wanted to talk about Iland 2, which is the new survival program produced by Mnet, but they kind of stole it from Hybe and
Exactly.
Beautiful Labs. What we do know is that the group is going to be debuting under Wake One, which they currently have Kepler, which is a temporary group, and Zero Base One, which is also a temporary group, both of which came out of the Boys Planet franchise. And then they're also working with Teddy, who's the producer for the Black Label, which, if you don't know what the Black Label is, they're like a sub-label under YG Entertainment.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think the judging panel, a lot of them have worked with like Blackpink specifically, To Anyone, right? Who else was on there? I'm trying to remember.
So they have different types of producers. So they have like the main producer, which is Taeyang. So he's actually he's a soloist now, but he was a part of Big Bang, which was this really popular second gen boy group in YG. And then their music directors are Vivienne and 24. They're both producers that work with YG and the Black Label, I believe. And then Lee Jung is one of the dance producers or the performance producers, and she actually works with YG as well. So if you don't know who Lee Jung is or Monica, they're both dancers and choreographers. They became more popular on the show Street Woman Fighter, which was this crew dance competition that was really, really good. And I keep telling Taj that she needs to watch it, but she's like, no, I don't want to because they're not singing.
Okay, just for context, you guys. Hannah knows all of this information because she's been a K-pop stan for how long?
Since late 2015.
Okay, and I got into it about like 4 months ago, so I'm brand new, and half of the arsenal of information I get is from Hannah, and then from survival shows and any groups that I've sort of like groups that I sort of gravitated towards. But Hannah knows all of this stuff because she was way into it before I got into it. So if you're wondering why I'm not talking, that's why. I'm just letting her give you all the knowledge. Like, she drops it on me on a daily basis.
I am by no means an expert.
But she might as well be. Like, literally, Hannah is a walking encyclopedia. Like, half of the time, like we're on a podcast right now, so maybe she might have some notes in front of her, but she'd be telling me this just like right off of the top of her head while we're just hanging out normally. So she just has this information just in her brain, and it's actually amazing. So if you ever want to ask anybody questions, Hannah is the one to ask because I'm very new.
I also may or may not have taken it wasn't a K-pop class necessarily. It was a class on music from Korea, Japan, and China, and we had a K-pop unit.
That is so fun. And the fact that you took wait, they just happened to have that, or you took the class because they had a K-pop unit?
It was just interesting, so I decided to take it. I didn't know we were going to do a K-pop unit, but I had a feeling that we would. So I was like, sign me up. Yes, college credits.
Yes, period. That is so funny. Okay, so I do know that in terms of like the audition process of this show, they said they picked girls from all over, right? And they narrowed it down to 24 contestants who were selected to compete. And they all have different training periods, right? Like, there was one girl who trained for like 5 years, right? Whereas some of them have only been training a couple of months. Which I think that's crazy. They all get given the same like opportunity. Like, some of them have been training for so long, and then some of them are brand spanking new. So that's just such an interesting dynamic.
But you can also kind of tell, and I feel like with all of these survival shows, it's always like that, where they have trainees that some of them have been training for years and some of them only a couple months.
Yeah.
But because of the structure of a survival show, it like forces you to improve pretty quickly. and to
Mm-hmm.
pick up on things pretty quickly. So it'd be interesting to see the contestants that don't have a lot of training and that you could tell based on their performances. It'll be interesting to see how they improve
Mm-hmm.
if
I'm
they
also
how far they make it.
yeah. I'm curious to see. I'm always curious to see how the trainees that have been athletes will do, or
Mm-hmm.
like that have been training in other things. Like they said, one girl she went to like a national ballet school that was like really hard to get
Yeah,
into, right?
Chan. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
She was
then
like the first Korean person ever to get into the program, and it's like
right,
the third best ballet school in the entire world. So
that's
that's
crazy.
yeah.
They're like, why are you here? That's so funny. Who else? There was a girl that did taekwondo, right? And then I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember a
I
lot of
don't
the
remember
intro
who
stuff. It's
specifically.
hard to recall, but yeah, one of the girls she trained in like a bunch of different styles of dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like majoring in it at high school, and then I think there was one more. There was another girl. I think she was in the baggy jeans group, the one that was really tall and in the center. She has a lot of dance experience, right? Like she was top voted dance trainee, something like that. Am I wrong?
Yes,
Was it her?
I believe it was Coco. Yes, Coco. She was in
Mm-hmm.
the baggy jeans group. She was the trainees or the contestants voted her like best dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have a lot of survival show background as well. Like,
Mm.
I think in terms of voting, Bong Jimin, she currently has the most votes. She's the most recognizable because she was on Are You Next, which was another
Mm.
survival show that Hype did. She
Yeah.
actually was voted. Her final ranking was fourth place. I never
Really?
watched Are You Next, so I don't really know why she got fourth place and
You
didn't make
didn't
it
watch
into
Are
the
You
final group.
Next?
I like kind of watched it by proxy through TikTok.
I see. I thought you had seen it from what you were telling me about it.
No, I just like know all the drama from the show because I watch a lot of K-pop news stuff.
I see.
But there's her. There's Jungin, who she was the contestant that was ranked number one at overall.
Oh.
Um,
Wait,
she
she was on
was
another show?
yeah, she was on My Teenage Girl.
What?
Oh no, I lied.
I was like, is that her?
No,
There was
um,
another
um,
girl.
her sister was on My Teenage Girl. Never mind. But Hugo, she was on Girls Planet 999.
Mm.
Okay, so there were six performances that the contestants did to show off their skills, and the very first one was Unforgiven, originally by Le Seraphim, which we're both
Period.
Le Seraphim fans, yes.
Yes.
But how did you feel about that performance?
I felt pretty good. There were two that stood out to me, and please forgive my pronunciation, you guys. I'm still very new. Um Rue Sarang, wait, yeah, Rue Sarang, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I liked her a lot.
So
She
did
was the
I. So did
one that, yeah, she was the one that started it out,
I.
and
Mm-hmm.
that does Kazua's part on the floor. She has incredible facial expressions and really strong stage presence, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like as you watch the podcast, you'll notice that that's something that I very much focus on. Um, I focus, like, even if the singing isn't necessarily the strongest, if I think a person has, like, a really strong quality of being able to express themselves well on stage or just make it look like they're having a really good time, I tend to value that a lot more than, like, being, like, too technical with little things.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I thought she was a great performer. And then I remember, maybe on my list, she was the only one that stood out to me.
Honestly, she was the only one that I had on my list too. So I actually made a predictions list of
Mm-hmm.
people who I thought were gonna make it to Iland in this episode, and also
Yeah.
people that I feel like would make the final lineup.
And she's in it.
Um, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
same.
because I just in my notes I just wrote hella stable, like good
For real.
vocals. She had a good rap tone, very good stage presence. Her dance was really good. Just like she was just very overall um stable, and I feel like she was the most appealing performer out of the Unforgiven group.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and something that Lee Jung, the performance director said is that she looks at like the first 3 seconds of a performance,
Yeah.
which I really like. It's sort of like the first sentence of an essay, like the attention grabber.
Mm,
And I feel like Sarang did that extraordinarily well. Like she just had my attention from the very beginning.
mm-hmm.
And so she just stood out to me amongst the rest of the group.
Yeah. And I feel like if she's that good at just expressing herself right now, by the
Mm-hmm.
time she gets to the last episode of Island, I can just we're just assuming she's gonna make it all the way to the end at this point. I think that. Let's see if our predictions are right. But
Yeah.
I think like her potential to grow is like just wow, like just way up there.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. Overall, I feel like the Unforgiven group as a whole was pretty stable, and that's something that the judges said. I just think Sarang stuck out the most, so
I agree.
I'm keeping my eye on her.
Same. I remember writing her name down like at the very jump, like when they first started introducing people.
Hmm.
And I can't remember why. Oh, because she was a hot kids dancer, like for the group Hot.
Oh, HOT.
Yes. Oh my God, I did it again. I'm gonna cry, guys. Okay, don't come for me, okay? When I first got into K-pop, Hannah had to literally correct every single group name when I would say it because I would be like, what did I used to call TXT? I used to call it text,
She
right?
used to say text, and I was like, "Who is she talking about?"
I
And
would
then
say
when I found out it
text.
was TXT, I almost peed myself laughing.
And then what else? What else? There was another group. There was another group I would do that with all the time.
Um,
It was. It wasn't. Oh gosh, it was someone's name.
I don't remember.
We talked about a bunch of different groups.
I know you. I know you called to us TWS, but I feel like that's
Yeah.
understandable. I feel like that's more
No, no, no.
reasonable
There
than
was one that was so
text.
bad. I think it was. Oh, I was like, I thought ATs was Addy.
Oh,
I just, I just choose to pronounce everything wrong. Clearly in my brain, I don't.
it's okay.
I'm sorry, guys. Just for future reference. Yeah, I don't do it on purpose. It's just how my brain interprets what's being said. Okay, anyways.
It is
Um
okay. Anyway, moving
yeah.
on. We have the Afterlike group
Yes.
with a strong P at the end for some reason. I don't know why I did that. Um, so
For
in this
emphasis.
group, I actually had two girls that stuck out to me.
Mhm.
I had Hugo and I had Cutie.
Yes. Same. Same. I have both of them on here as well.
Yeah. So for Hugo, I wrote very pretty OMG.
Mhm.
Um, she had very stable vocals. She had really good facial expressions. My only qualm, if you will, about
Uh-oh.
her vocals is that they're kind of nasally.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, that's something that I've noticed more in Japanese singers that are in K-pop. And this isn't just like a sweeping generalization. If you watched Produce 48, that was literally a topic of conversation with the vocal coaches on that show. Were teaching all of the Japanese girls how to sing outside of their nose, and it's also a topic of conversation with Momo from Twice and some other Japanese singers in K-pop that they sometimes sound really nasally.
Mm.
That I don't know why that is. And she doesn't sound bad. She sounds really good, but I feel like she would excel more with her vocals if she brought it out of her nose and brought it more forward in her mouth. I not to like um brag or anything, but I do have a degree in applied music with
Hannah's
concentration of voice.
just a woman of many talents
So yeah,
and
I'm
has all
very
degrees, all the class credits, all the experience and research papers documented done.
no. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
No, I'm very passionate about vocals and vocal technique, so that's something that I look for a lot. Um, and I'm not expecting people to be like Adele or Beyonce level vocals here.
Mhm.
But I that is just something that I look out. But she is very stable and she has really good breath control, which means that like when she was dancing, it was all live. Really good breath control. So that means when she was dancing, her dancing was stable, but also her voice was pretty clear as well. They did. I don't know if you noticed this, Taj. They did
Hmm.
have this weird. I don't know if it was like post editing
Oh
or
yeah.
like a mic effect that like sometimes they sounded like robots. But
That,
like it was still live.
if it makes you feel any better, just so you guys know, Hannah has not seen the original Island. So
True.
this is her first time experiencing like the world of Island and how the show kind of works. And we'll get more into that later because as most of you know who have seen, of course, the show that produced Enhypen, it's a very different vibe. But what was I getting at with this? Oh, you were talking about the after effects and stuff. I
Hmm.
didn't notice it as much in this number, but there was one number that I noticed it in quite a bit that I'll mention later. Um,
Oh,
but it's not as heavily edited as some other shows I've seen.
that's good to know. I mean, you could definitely tell that like they were singing live, like they were breathing heavy and
Yeah.
like they had little mistakes and stuff. The other member in this group that I said cutie, she stood out to me. She was just very stable. She was the youngest in this group. She's 15.
Really?
Yeah, but she just like I feel like she had really good facials and stage presence. And to be fair, a lot of the members in this group were a bit more inexperienced.
Mm.
So I think Hugo and Cutie stood out even more because
Mhm.
some of the other vocals and in this group were not as strong. But
Yeah.
even so, I do think that the two of them are talented.
I feel like to me, Yeti stood out the most to me only because just like her performance and her face was like it was just very natural. Like everything that she was
Mm-hmm.
doing seemed very compelling and very sweet and honest and just like she was having a good time, but she also understood what the song was about. She understood
Yeah.
the tone and she expressed it in a way that didn't feel like safe. She was just like, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna like go for it and just see what happens, have fun and feel good when I leave. And I feel like that's a hard thing to do on stage is to like trust yourself enough to just let go. And I feel like she did a really good job with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Was there anybody else that stood out in this group for you?
Mm-mm.
Not really, no.
No, unfortunately, and I feel like as we go along with the show, more members will stand out, and also we have to take into consideration that some people stand out better in different genres.
True, that is very true.
I noticed that from watching the first season, just
Mm-hmm.
like some people who are just they do better with the numbers where they can be more expressive with their face, or some people do better with numbers that are more like hard hitting. It just depends on what you're more comfortable with, because that could impact how confident you are in a performance as well.
Yeah. Okay, so then the next performance was Sweet Venom and
Ooh, this is my
Hypen.
favorite. Okay, guys. Now, mm, if you don't know already, I am an Enhypen stan. That is one of my favorite groups. It is the group that really just got me into K-pop. Before
That's how
this, I
we.
was more in. That's
Sorry.
bruh. Yes, yeah, we
That's
will
how
get
we
to that,
became
Hannah. We will
friends.
get to it. Um, so basically, I was watching Iland, and Hannah, what did you say to me?
Oh well. Okay. Context. Uh, Taj and I used to work at the same place, and
Yes.
our shifts would overlap. So I came in, and she was watching Island, but I didn't
Hmm.
know. But I just saw like some Korean words on the screen, and I was like, "Hey, what you watching?"
She was like, "Is that Korean?" And I was like, "Yes." And then immediately, like, I could just sense. I was like,
I was
"Why
like,
do I know right now that Hannah and I are gonna be friends?" I was like, "I'm watching Iland." I was like, "It's a survival show." And she literally
I
immediately
was like,
connected.
no way.
Yeah,
And then we talked for hours.
because we were talking about it. We live in a place that is just not. Well, I don't want to say it's not full of K-pop idols. I mean, what idols? What K-pop fans? I just let's just say we didn't think that we would find someone who shared the
Yeah.
interest of
Yeah,
K-pop.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Especially because we're both new to the area relatively, and like we didn't have a lot of friends when we first came out here, and so just
I
the
had
fact that
zero.
I had been here a little bit longer than Hannah, so I had a couple of friends, but not friends that I could talk about this with. So we both just got really, really excited about it, and that started basically this podcast and started all of our conversations about K-pop and our different um, artists and things that we really like when we get into things like this. It's just so funny because we would be at work and I would stay after for hours just talking to Hannah about this when I was supposed to go home. So we're like, we need to do a podcast. Hopefully my job never hears this and they're gonna be like, what is this girl on?
Mm.
But yeah.
Anyway, Sweet Venom.
Anyways. Sweet Venom, yes, that's what we were talking about. Sorry, I have severe ADHD, so if I get really just off topic, please forgive me. And also that's gonna be why I'm constantly forgetting things. But my favorite member in this whole survival show is in this number. Just want to let you guys know that.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I was not expecting this. To be honest with you, I thought Sarang was gonna be my favorite, and she was up until Sweet Venom. My favorite is, let me find her name, Sabi, the girl with the 8 feet proportion, the 8 head proportion. She's really tall, and is that what they said? Yeah, they said that she was like a model as a kid. At first I was like, oh, I wonder if she just did this for fun. Girl slayed. Girl literally did not have to body that performance like that. She really didn't need to do all that. And
no, she was really good. She's on my list.
I'm still thinking about it. Like, I sat there and was literally in chills. I was like, there's no way right now.
Wow. Oh my
when
gosh.
They say your bias picks you, it's always performance for me. It's the person that stands out to me in the performance and that can give me chills when I'm not expecting it, or they just do and I'm just like so captivated by the performance. They even said it. They were like, she just has a cockiness about her, but she's also got swag. And like when you see her, when she starts, you just don't expect that. And I was just so shook. I had a great time. That was my favorite performance. And then she did the number by my group. Absolutely. And killed it.
She is she has the longest number of years as a trainee out of all the contestants. So she trained for 5 years. So that definitely shows, like,
I didn't realize
she knows
that.
what she's doing. Yeah.
Okay, go off, sis. Absolutely.
And she's only 16. That's crazy.
What? Wait, 5 years and she's when did she become a trainee? I'm sorry.
That means she was 11. 10 or 11, yeah. But she's definitely on my list. I was like, when I saw her perform, I wrote stable for a lot of people, and that means different things for different people. But for her, I was just like, wow, she really did body that performance.
Yeah, and then
I really enjoyed it.
It wasn't just the like facial expressions. Her dancing was also great. Like her dancing was really great. The singing was great. The facials were great. Like she understood the assignment. That's all I can say. She understood it. She bodied it, and she ended it with the ending fairy and killed it. I was just like, yes.
The other member in this group that I marked was Soojung. Do you remember who that is? She's the one with like the blunt bangs.
Yes, the girl
from Street Girl Fighter.
Yes. I was so mad, Hannah.
Why?
Because they were like, you need to work on being taller. I was like, let her be her short queen self.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. Yeah, they were like, you need to make your neck look longer. And I was just like, she's doing fine.
Oh, my God. She was great.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually very happy with the levels and the performance. Thank you. Everybody else was tall. I was like, bruh. Her facial expressions, her freaking bright, beautiful smile, her energy, her lines, everything was perfect.
So with Soojung, I was looking forward to her the most because she was the only, other than Jimin, who we'll get to a little bit later, she was the only contestant who I knew who she was because I watched Street Girl Fighter 2.
Yeah.
So she was the leader of her crew. She represented Mana Queen for those who watched that series. And she's a really, really great dancer. Like, obviously phenomenal. Her group made 4th overall. She made it to the finals. I was mostly looking forward to her because I didn't know how she was as like an idol performer, like a K-pop performer. Because with like the Street Woman Fighter and the Street Girl Fighter series, it's strictly like dance. So not just like K-pop choreography, but like legit dance.
And so she sings great.
Yeah.
Okay. I know. Okay, but Kana, you have to consider Sweet Venom is a very high song.
Yes.
And all of her notes were very high, and she still managed to use a mixed voice. She wasn't just singing in falsetto. She did a really good job.
So that was my thing. I think she she has a good voice, and that's what I was looking for out of her since I knew she was a great performer and a great dancer. Um, this song is very really high, and so I think she executed it well. It's just my like voice teacher, the voice teacher in me is like, you needed to use more chest a little bit. Like her mix was very head dominant, and so it
Mm.
wasn't the most appealing to me specifically. Um,
But it
and
wasn't. It could have been soft. It could have been soft, and it could have been weak. But it was she really like she really put in the effort to like make it loud.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I think if she were I just she just gotta get into the practice room a little bit and work on some technique, and then she'd be golden. But I'm definitely, I think that she has a good chance of making it to the finals just because she has a lot of performance experience. She is really stable with her vocals despite my qualms. Um,
She's also got that je ne sais quoi.
yeah. And she has experience as a leader and like being on stage. So I think um I think she's gonna do well in this show.
Can we talk about how that group? Well, at least okay, because I'll be honest, those are the only two that stood out to me.
Same.
But that they're at that level from the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
like, isn't that wild? Like,
I know.
imagine how they'll be by the end. And how many riots are
Crazy.
we gonna start if they don't make it to the end?
See
Because
that okay. I've told Taj this before, but with all of the survival shows that I've watched 16, Idol School, all of the Produce series, RIP.
oh.
But also we don't like rigging here. Um,
Oh my god! Wait. Side note: did you see the note that they put at the beginning?
no, what did they put?
Okay, it said, okay, I wrote it down. It said, from voting collection to result calculation, to prevent any manipulation, system is verified by outside specialists from
Oh my gosh.
SAMILPWC. They literally put it in there at the
Well,
bottom in
yeah, because
parentheses.
mnet is producing it, and mnet was the one that rigged the numbers and
No
produce.
way!
LOL.
Oh no! I am
Anyway,
crying.
anyway, out of all of the um survival shows that I've seen, I always like to watch the shows after they announce the final lineup because I feel like I don't want to get invested in somebody and then not have them make the final lineup because then I'd be really sad. So this is
Wait,
really
you said you watched the shows after the final lineup?
yes.
Hannah.
So this is the first time that I'm watching a survival show where I don't know what the outcome is going to be. So
Oh my
I'm
god.
rooting for people, and they may not make it, but
Oh
we'll
my god,
see.
look at us. It's my first like official like survival show too cuz I watched Iland, but I watched it like 3 years after it came out. So same with
Yeah.
I can't go an episode without talking about Anteam or else I'm going to get roasted in my comments and
Okay,
also
and
like
yes, Anteam is
are,
Taj's like alt group, by
are
the
you
way. So
proud of
you will
me
hear
because
Anteam so much.
I haven't mentioned them once. Are you? I mentioned Enhypen because we're talking about Iland, but we cannot forget that 4 members from Iland also made it to an audition and also made it to debut in Anteam. Anyways,
Congratulations.
yes, thank you so much.
It's been an hour and a half, and this is the first time you mentioned them.
This is like the first conversation where this has ever happened, because usually I start every conversation with "Oh my gosh." No, and actually that's a lie because before we started this podcast, I said "Oh my god, oh no." Anteam just released their what was it, the concept video, and I lost my mind right before
Oh,
this
you're
podcast.
right.
I did bring it up, so I lied.
I retract my congratulations.
No. It was a beautiful concept, guys. Please go check it out if you have time. I know that's not what we're talking about, but if you watched Iland and you're listening to this podcast, you definitely know EJ, Taki, Kay, and Nicholas. So, yeah, that's also why I'm bringing this up. Anyways, we'll move on. I got my little dose of Loon promotion and Lune
Is that why you
promotion,
brought it
sorry.
up?
Yes. No, I'm joking. I just wanted to talk about them. Anyways, we'll move on. We'll move on. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. So the next performance was Cake, originally by ITZY. In this group, there was really only one person that stood out to me. I don't know about you. It was Unche. Do you remember her? She was the one that had like the double pony, like her hair was out, but then she
Yes.
had like 2 little ponytails on the sides. She was wearing like the 2-piece She's not the one with the pink bows, if that's who you're thinking of.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of Soul then.
Okay. In the performance, she was the second to go. And immediately, I loved her vocal tone in rapping.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like she was very strong and stable. She did have a little voice crack, which
Mm-hmm.
they, of course, replayed 1,000 times. But look, as a vocalist, a person of the vocal arts, if you will, voice cracks, they happen. It's natural. It's usually when you have an over excess of air and you may be pushing a little bit too hard when you're singing or rapping or whatever you're doing.
Mm.
It happens to the most professional of professionals. It happens to the most amateur of amateur. When I was doing my vocal lessons, my professor would always be like, never be afraid to voice crack. It usually means that you're doing something right. You're just doing it a little bit too hard.
Yeah.
So I know anytime they do a voice crack, they're just like, ooh, you messed up. But it's like, no, she was doing a good job. But I just felt like she had really good stage presence, and she was the only one that really like stood out to me in the group.
Yeah, I feel like I can't remember if it was this group, but I feel like this was the group that I noticed that there was like a little bit of like, was it this group that had like a teensy bit of pitch issues, or am I wrong?
I know the Afterlight group had a lot of pitch issues. I don't.
It might have been
remember if this
Afterlight.
group, yeah. Because Afterlight they had that girl Yeon who everybody was like, oh my gosh, you're so pretty, and she was on that
sorry.
like YouTube
It
street
was,
interview.
It was that
Yeah.
group. Yes, it was that.
And she
group.
sang, and I was just like, oh, maybe let's find the pitch.
Yeah.
Respectfully. Respectfully.
Oh no. in the cake number, I did like Soul a lot. I can't remember why because I didn't write it down, but I'm always, of course, captivated by facial expressions, so she must have had really good facial expressions and really good energy. And then I think I remember kind of remembering the girl in the gray sweater and the collar, and I can't remember what for. I am like not as prepared as Hannah for this podcast. Her memory is just way better than mine. Let me see.
I wrote everything. I literally wrote down every single note. I'm not remembering anything off the top of my head.
And I was at work when I was watching this. I didn't get to write in-depth details. Okay, yeah, I think I just wrote down the names. K. Yeah, I think I just remember the members that stood out to me, and I just wrote down their names. So.
Oh, gotcha. I mean, hey, that's what I did originally, and then
you
I
got
was
to
like,
go
maybe
back.
I should write down notes.
You heard I was watching it, and I was like, I'm taking notes, and then she went back and took more notes, which I.
Look, I wanted to remember why I liked these people.
That's valid, and now I'm wishing that I had more time so I could have done that. But I watched all 2 hours in one sitting, and really couldn't rewind because we had a deadline at 8 a.m.
A self-imposed deadline.
A self-imposed deadline. We said we're meeting at 8 a.m. But yeah, that wasn't the last group. We had 2 more, right?
Yeah, two more. So the next one is Baggy Jeans. This was the trio. There was the only person that I really liked in this group was Coco.
Really? The only one that I really liked in this group. I liked Coco, but for me, I feel like... Okay, I'll let you go first. But I'll just say that I think it was Yui. She was in the purple. I liked her a lot. She stood out to me the most.
That makes sense. I feel like the reason why I liked Coco was, one, I really liked her rapping, her like vocal tone when she raps. I also think that she expressed the tone of the song really well. I feel like sometimes when you get the idol rappers, they're kind of like monotone a little bit. But I think she had a lot of expression and personality in her voice when she was performing, so that stood out to me a lot. I also felt like she had a lot of stage presence, or a lot of stage presence. That doesn't make sense. She had good stage presence. Like, there's only 3 of them, so I feel like it may be easy to stand out a little bit since there's not as many people. But I don't know. I just felt like, to me, she expressed the song the best. So that's why I liked her.
Yeah. I feel like in terms of connecting with audience and just capturing like was it the because this isn't really a smiley number. Like it's supposed to
No,
be
first of all,
like
this is NCT.
it's baggy, it's laid back,
Yeah.
it's easygoing, it's whatever. But again, for me, I'm gonna always remember the person that like sparkled the most because I grew up doing musical theater, and that should tell you a lot about me. So I love a big performer. I love someone whose energy like leaps off the stage and leaves you
Hmm.
remembering them, and just
Yeah.
like leaving you with a really good, strong impression and feeling. And I feel
Hmm.
like Yui did that really well. And I don't know if it's because it was the purple that just made her stand out a little bit more. I don't know. I just she has a quality about her that's very captivating, and so she's someone I'm definitely gonna be keeping my eye on. I didn't think the girl in the red did a bad job, like at all. I think they gave her a hard time because she didn't sing a part. Um,
Yeah.
and I just think it was an unfortunate circumstance where she got paired with the group of like the two girls that were really good at expressing.
I agree. Do you know her name? I don't remember her
I
name.
don't remember because I only wrote down my top,
I'm
unfortunately.
gonna look it up really fast.
It was Yuju.
Yuju. Jinx. Yes. I agree. I don't think she did bad at all. I actually think she kept up really well, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that Yui and Coco just dominated more in the performance. That she just kind of fell flat a little bit just in comparison. But I don't think she's untalented, or I don't think she actually did fall flat. I just think you and Coco just stood out more.
I also feel like a group of three is a lot more. It's really easy to catch little
Hmm.
things, whereas like if it was a group of four or five, I feel like she would have
Yeah.
stuck out in a positive way. And usually in groups of three, they're gonna eliminate one person, especially if you're towards the end.
True. That is very true.
Yeah.
All right. Last but definitely not least, the drama group, originally by aespa. So something that people always say in K-pop a lot, like on survival shows, it's like the Avengers team. So it's like
Yeah.
the people where everybody is super strong. And out of all of the groups, this was definitely, I understand why they said that about them. Because first of all, they had
Mm-hmm.
Jungin, who was voted first place overall out of all the groups. They had Jimin, who was on Are You Next, and had that popularity, but she's also just a great performer.
Yeah.
You had Mai, who everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, she's so pretty!" Like her face is like stylish, which I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what that means, but apparently
Right.
she has a trendy face.
Yeah.
Um, and then what was the other girl's name? Ji Yoon.
Yeah.
So for me, my favorite person out of all the contestants so far is Jungin. And I feel like that probably makes the most sense to me just because out of everybody, I feel like she is the singer. Like she
She's the
can
one that has the
sing.
bangs, right?
Yes.
And that was voted number one.
Yes.
As she should.
Like
Yeah.
she's got the pipes, she's got the vocals. Like I think um so there's this conversation about singers versus vocalists, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like most of the contestants on here are singers, and I feel like Jungin is the only one that's like a legit vocalist, if that makes
Mm,
sense. And so I feel like that's probably why I was drawn to her the most because I was like, yes, technique, yes, good
yeah.
vocal tone. Like she knows how to use her breath really well. Her stage presence was really great. It wasn't necessarily anything over the top, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that she expressed the song pretty well. And then anything that she lacked in it, honestly, like her vocals kind of made up for it.
Yeah. And I feel
Um,
like. Oh, wait, are you done?
no, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. I was gonna say, in terms of her performance, I found her very like. She has a very endearing like presence about her. Like
Hmm.
her smile is very sweet, and she's very like she gives off like a warmth, but she also just the stage presence and the voice. Like she came out, and I had chills. I was
I
like,
know, it's just so good. She was the first person on my list that I was like, I'm predicting this now. She's 1,000% making it to the final
oh,
lineup.
for
Like, I
sure.
think she's making it to the final lineup.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Her and then who else was in this group? Someone else stood out to me a lot in this group. I can't remember who it was.
The other people are Jimin, Mai, and Jiyoon.
I think it was probably the girl from Are You Next?
Jimin, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's another person that I wrote like 1,000% is making the final lineup. First of all, she's an ex-Hybe trainee, which
Period.
we are a fan of Hybe groups here.
We are.
So Taj and I have had multiple conversations about like each entertainment company kind of has their specialty in a way. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows that if you're in SM, you're gonna bring the vocals.
Mm-hmm.
YG is like the swaggy hip hop cursive singing type thing. Um, I feel like we discussed that Hybe, their groups overall just have really great stage presence and performances as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Mm-hmm.
everybody in there seems to just like love to perform. It just
Yeah.
comes very natural to them. So when you're watching them on stage, you just have a good time because you can tell they're having a good time and they're putting their all into their performances.
That, and then the synchronicity. Like a lot of the
Mm,
groups manage to dance like they are one person. And I think it's just a really beautiful display of like the chemistry of the members,
hmm.
because in order to be able to move as one, you have to be able to be comfortable as one, and you have to be able to
Yeah.
comfortably communicate with your members and be like, okay, there has to be someone in the group that is like, okay, I might be the bad guy today, but I'm going to point out something that will help us all grow. So, okay, not to bring up Ant Team again, but K from Ant Team, he's the oldest member in that group, and I know that when they do a lot of their rehearsals, they'll check frame by frame to make sure that they're all breathing at the same time, and that, like, even though they have different height differences, that they're making up for it in the way that they're doing the choreography. They're all just, oh my gosh, they're all just so good.
Yeah. And we are aware Hybe is an umbrella company and
Yeah,
of each
subgroup,
yeah,
yeah.
so like each group has their own specific company that's training them, so there
Mm-hmm.
really isn't necessarily like an overall company that's like looking for these things, but it's just for whatever reason all of the groups that are under Hybe are very consistent in that same way, even though they're under different sublabels.
Mm-hmm. And then the
um
music, oh, the sound is always top notch. Like, and they
yeah.
tackle so many different genres, yet the sound is always so catchy and perfect and wonderful. I could talk about it for days.
And I feel like that even though Jimin didn't make it into Islet
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, even though again she got fourth overall, which makes no sense to me. Um, you can definitely tell that she is very polished, very professional, very experienced. She knows exactly what she's doing when she's on stage. It just translated so well in this performance. So that's why I'm just like, she's definitely making it into this group.
Mm-hmm.
I also pinpointed Mai as well.
Mm.
I think vocally speaking, she wasn't necessarily the strongest out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think she expressed the song pretty well. Her facials weren't as apparent, I guess you could say. Like she didn't perform with her face to the same level as everybody else necessarily. But I think that the fact that she could keep up with everyone just proves her skill. And she honestly just needs to work on a little bit of breath support, and she'll be there.
Yeah. I feel like from the beginning though, like she was really good, like with her energy
Yeah.
and her facial
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
expressions. I think the only thing with it was it you could tell she was trying. Like it didn't seem like it was
Yeah.
like a natural thing that was happening in that state of
Exactly.
performance where those spontaneous things happen when you're having fun and when you're just really just letting yourself be free in it. Like it didn't look practiced, but it looked like she was trying hard. So when you have the members next to her
Yeah.
that aren't doing that as much, it looks a little bit unnatural. But she, uh, I loved how committed she was. That was like my favorite part
Yes.
about the performance. She came out and she just like set the tone.
Yeah.
You
Again,
know?
the first 3 seconds that
Yeah,
Lee Jung was talking about, like she did
exactly.
that. Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah, I mean that's all the performances. Really the last thing is who made it to ground and who made it to Island.
Okay, I
Um,
watched, but I don't remember who.
okay, that's okay. I made a list.
Okay.
I only made a list of the people that made it to Island because
Okay.
not to say that the people that made it to ground are bad. I
Mhm.
think a lot of them just had less experience with training and stuff like that. So they just need to develop a little bit. Yeah. So the people that made it at the very end, there was 4 extra people that the judges voted for,
Mm-hmm.
but they had to get cut, unfortunately.
Oh no.
But we can talk about them too. But so the final ranking was first place Jungin, obviously my girl. Um, Second place was Jimin from the drama group as well.
Mm-hmm.
Third place was Hugo, who she did After Like.
That's I forgot F. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. It's the Japanese F doesn't really like exist in the way that RF does. So Hugo.
I
It's
only
spelled
know
like
that
Fuko, but
because of Huma from Anteam. Anyway.
I know that because I watch a lot of anime. Okay, fourth place was Mai from the drama group as well. Fifth place was Sarang from Unforgiven, one of our personal faves.
Mm-hmm.
Sixth place was Savy, your fave.
Yes.
And then so I wanted to mention this when we were talking about the Baggy Jean group, but
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to talk about the 12 Iland members later on.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, I only really liked Coco, and you said you only really liked Yui, but they both
Yes.
made it to Iland in the final 12. So
Yes.
I don't know how to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yui made 7th place, and then Coco made 8th place. So I was like,
Great.
both of our girls made it. Yeah.
Yes.
And then 9th place was Sujung in the Sweet Venom group, which I feel like that makes sense.
She's the one from the dance show, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then 10th place is Jiyoon from the drama group. We didn't really talk about her. I feel like in comparison to the other drama members, she didn't really stand out as much. But I think that group was just really solid as a whole, so that's why she made it to Iland.
Mm-hmm.
And then 11th place was Cutie, who was another member in Afterlife that we liked. And then the last member in Iland was Juwon in the Unforgiven group.
Okay.
Yes. So, like I said before, I had made a list of all the people that I was looking out for, and my list only consisted of 10 people. And of the 10 people, 9 of them made it to Iland. So,
Go off, Hannah. Go off with the predictions.
the only one that didn't was Enche from Cake, but none of the Cake members made it, which
Really?
honestly isn't that surprising to me because I feel like the Cake group was like the cuties, you know, like they.
I feel like they judge cute numbers differently too, because it's just like when I've seen, this is more with boy groups, but like in the past, if you do a cute number and it's up against a like more hard hitting number, they're gonna score you lower. Like it's just a given, and it's not really fair.
With girl groups, it's a little bit of another context thing. Taj is more of a boy group stan, and I'm more of a girl group stan.
Yes.
And we have fights about this all the time. But with girl groups, they tend to lean, not necessarily lean towards the cute numbers, but I don't know if you remember this when the Cake group went up. The judges were like, "Oh my gosh, they're so cute! Like, I'm not sure if I can like be unbiased voting for them."
That's very true.
So like they tend to like cute numbers from girls a lot more. I think Inche is a really strong rapper and a really good performer, and I think that if she performed with other people, she would probably stand out even more and maybe make it to Iland.
How are you remembering every single performance? I'm like, I could only remember the people that stood out to me, and I'm looking back at this, and I don't even remember why. Like, I'm having such a hard time. Hannah's like, okay, well, it was this part, the vocal support, and then it was also this.
I don't know. My brain. It's also really early.
I'm going to sound just a little bit inadequate every podcast because, one, I'm coming off of an 8-hour shift, an overnight shift, by the way, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., and then I come here, and Hannah's an encyclopedia. I just can't.
No. But anyway, what was I saying? Yes, Enche didn't make it into Iland. I think that she probably... I'm interested to see how she'll perform outside of the members she came into the show with. And kind of expand her horizons that way. So I'm still keeping my eye on her. She just didn't make it to Iland this time.
Mm-hmm.
She did get voted by the judges to be in Iland, but then when the contestants were voting for who they think should stay, she got voted out, unfortunately. I do kind of want to watch Iland just for the
please,
comparison.
Hannah, please do it.
Just don't.
Please do it. Pretty please. I really want you to experience it so you can, at least the first episode, just the first episode, so that you can understand the difference in dynamic, because when I tell you it is a day and night difference, I need you to actually like understand, because it's actually painful. I'm like, if they had this sort of like vibe, it would have been such a different show.
Interesting. Okay, that's my homework for this week. Actually, I told Taj that I would also watch some Team performances.
Yay. Please do. Please, can I watch with you? Please.
No.
Why?
Because you're going to be fangirling in my ear.
I'm not. I'll be quiet. I'll literally be quiet. I just want to know what you're thinking.
No.
You see how she does me? You see? I just want to experience her experience, and she just won't let me.
This is so funny.
It's not funny. It's painful, okay? I just want people to love my group, okay? I want there to be more of us.
She's really upset because Team is like a Japanese global group, and it's under Hype, but it's like K-pop adjacent, so they're not necessarily doing everything that regular K-pop groups do.
They're getting there, really okay? They can't ignore them. They just got their own variety show. They just performed in Taiwan, okay? Bruh, you can try, but they are out there and they are thriving and they are killing it, and nobody can tell them otherwise. So you don't see them on everything now, but give it a year. Give it a year, I tell you, and they will be in Los Angeles. Give it a year. I'm manifesting it.
A year.
I manifested the variety show. I can manifest this too. It's fine.
Yes, you single-handedly manifested Team to get their own variety show.
I sure did. Me and my little study group, we sure did.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So how do you feel about the final lineup for the Iland members?
I'm pretty content. I think that everybody that is there was probably like in the top list of the strong people that I had, so I'm not upset at all. Did we mention that there was one girl that was on our list that didn't make it, right? Or she got bumped down or something?
Oh, Inche on my list, she didn't make it. But she was in the cake group. And I feel like overall, I don't know. That's not just going anywhere.
I don't know.
Restart. The person that was on my list that didn't make it was Inche. But I think she's a strong performer, and I think that if she maybe performs with other people and does different genres or just different concepts, that she may be able to stand out more. So I'm still going to keep an eye out on her. But overall, I think that the 12 Iland members are pretty solid.
I agree. I promise, guys, I will come back next time with more detailed explanations as to why I like certain members. I watched this all very quickly, and I didn't get to take in-depth notes like I usually would, so I'll come back with more performance-based information next time. And yeah, Hannah, are you ready to end the podcast? Is that all for today?
I am. That is all for today.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for listening with us. If you want to see us again, we will have our streaming. Where can you find this? Where are we going to put it first? Who knows?
YouTube, right?
YouTube. We'll probably post this on, YouTube first.
Did we? Yeah, because we didn't figure out Spotify yet.
Yeah. This podcast will very much likely be on YouTube first. So if you guys know how to get it on other places, let us know, because we're still very new to this. But I hope you enjoyed this conversation. No, it doesn't work. I hate it so much.
Anyway, we're done. Goodbye. Good night.
This has been Taj, and you're supposed to say this has been Hannah.
Oh. This has been Hannah.
And we're ending the podcast, guys. We love you. See you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed the Kconversation.
Episode 2. Bye.
Bye.